Yes, Marcus, you're first. And Marcus shared with us that as a child, he was born and lived in Germany. So he's actually made a very long physical and emotional journey. And something he wants you to know about himself is that he is passionate about the arts. And so, would you join me about the arts? And would you join me in welcoming Marcus?
All right. Evening. Oh, hello. Is this on?
Yeah. You just got to get real close to it, or you just have to speak up. Either one.
Hello? Oh, right. Hear myself. Okay. Hello. My name is Marcus Daniel. I'm here to tell a story. It's kind of funny. I'm usually able to be able to speak about my experience easily, but putting words to paper was really challenging. This is my second time participating in the Storyberg. I appreciate this opportunity. When I was here the first time, I tried telling my story about my Crohn's disease and how it was affecting me, causing depression, suicidal thoughts, and other terrible emotions. How to pick up my dance career, this disease crept up on me and ruined my life. I had to uproot my life to DC and move in with some of my family members here in Pittsburgh. But that's the story I'm here to retell. I'm here about my journey I took since then. Semi-road trip, trip to clarify. A trip I really didn't want to take. A trip I wasn't the way I wanted to go about happening unexpectedly. I drove from Pittsburgh to Florida. I started this journey in March for my mother's birthday, where she lives in North Carolina. This trip was for me to celebrate my mother's birthday. My plan wasn't to drive, but it was to take the train, but I took too long, so I had to end up driving myself. Whew. The past couple of years, I have been getting anxiety traveling on my own. Ideas start to form, all these what ifs. I never was the type to question problems and things like that in my 20s. I was kind of fearless. I would jump on the bus, jump in my car, travel to New York, Philadelphia, wherever. No questions asked, I just did it. When I lived here, before I got really sick, after work, I would go out in the middle of the night, 1 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning, to go jog, go to the gym, work out, clear my head. So, I first drove to Maryland, which I've done many times, to visit my father and his wife and their two beautiful dogs. I was wondering why and I questioned myself, what's wrong with you, Marcus? It's 4 a.m. and you're just going through the tolls to the head to Harrisburg, and I can't call anybody because everyone's asleep. So I turned on the music that lasted for a little while. Keep your mind off of wandering, wondering. Fast forward, I see the sun come up, and I see Breezewood, my Norris pit stops to rest and grab a couple of snacks. After I pulled off, a friend of mine called. God knew I needed someone to take my mind off the road. The last time I saw him, my friend, I call him my brother, was before the pandemic. But but while he was talking, I started, excuse me, I started thinking, is this person supposed to be in my life? Is certain people supposed to be in your life to remind you of the person you were, or the good times and bad times? Old friends remind you of that person that you used to be. But can you share the things of what you've been through and how you are now? Watching them through the computer, social media, and the way they're all moving on while you're still stuck in the past. My good friend I'm sorry, my good friend, I wish he would come visit sometimes. After I pulled off from my father's house, I hit towards North Carolina. It's about a 4-hour, sometimes 6-hour drive. I said goodbye to my dad and his wife. While I was driving on these crunchy roads, on the other side, it was like a candy bar. Wind was blowing so fast, making the car go back and forth and everything. I get to my mother's house, stay there, celebrate her birthday, and then the next day I head down to Florida. Now, once I hit Florida, I was feeling kind of relieved. My sister lives in Florida, also my best friend. She's been living in Jackson, Florida for several years. While I was there, I was there about 2 weeks. I hung out, explored, walked on the beach, met with the locals. Florida just didn't feel like it was home for me. When I left Florida, again dreading to drive back up north, coming back to Vicksburg, I did come to pit stop to my cousin's house, Nikki, and her husband, Fred. They also live in North Carolina. They're also about 2 hours away from my mother. Well, as I was driving again alone with my thoughts, I remember my childhood as a military kid and how it shaped me as a man. All the good and bad habits I collected in my 39 years, all the things I experienced and still want to do. I stayed at her house about 2 weeks also with my cousin. We hung out, had some very deep conversations. We cried, we laughed. She gave me some nuggets to think about on the way back. I talked to her. She knows just about everything about me. In particular, she surprised me and made me cry. I'm grateful for her and her always being there when she can. So, leaving her house, I'm heading back up to my mother's house for another pit stop. Stayed there. My mother had a big surprise for me. She found one of my old performances before I fell ill. Bringing that up, again, all the emotions of happiness, anger, and questions of why this had to happen to me. I was living my dream. I was living my dream and putting in the work for what I wanted to do for the rest of my life. Why I get sick. But then after this trip and making it back to Pittsburgh, I do know why. I know why I'm not motivated, why I'm depressed, and why I have all those why questions. It's because I don't think Pittsburgh is as my home. As a military kid, stability wasn't granted all the time. We always moved. When my dad retired, we were in a place where I still didn't feel like it was home. Even when I graduated, I left and came to Pittsburgh with my aunt because it was familiar, but still didn't feel like home. When I left in 2005, so I left Pittsburgh in 2005 and pursued a dance career, and it was mixing in the business of the business of the arts. It felt like home. But even though I've been here in the Still City with all the potholes, incredibly huge hills, seems like mountains, since 2009, the friends, mentors, and family makes it pretty great. But I'm going to leave you with this. It's a show I watched called Not Dead Yet. It's on ABC. It's about a woman who actually writes obituaries, but she goes through life lessons through doing this. There was a quote from this one episode on season 1, episode 13, if you want to check it out. The quote is, "Life can be surprising. We can close our eyes and visualize our lives on one way, only to find ourselves in a different place than what we imagine. And sometimes we find things appearing in our lives that we didn't know we needed, but suddenly we can't live without. I guess it's all part of our journey. And if we give ourselves over to it, the exciting part is we never know where it's going to take us next." Thank you.